Hey, there's a rabbit out here.
Oh, Cinnabunny's out.
Putting the band back together. Forget it. No way.
We're on a mission from God.
Yeah, I was just gonna put this away. Yeah, you can give him.
Oh, what's going on here? See, things are so different in this New Year vlog, and we don't even show you the coffee being ground. That's how different it is.
No.
Actually, everything's pretty much the same. Hey, what's going on? Hi. Oh, hey, get back. Hey, space, boundaries.
Since you give me that nerd box, I'll give you a nerd.
Oh, thank you. Filia just gave me a nerd. Since we started vlogging 1 year ago, there has been one comment that we have received more than any other comment. Probably twice as many as any other comment. Do you know what comment that is?
Wanting to know about our homeschooling?
No, even more than that.
More than that. Let me think for a second, if you want to pause it. Is it positive or negative?
I think it's positive. Final answer?
I love the way your family does life.
The comment that we get more than any other comment says that people appreciate how real we are.
Oh, duh. Oh, yeah.
Another way people phrase it is how authentic we are.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
In this week where we're kind of celebrating being vloggers for a year, we wanted to share the secret behind that, which I don't even know if it's a secret, but what we believe is the reason why we are able to be authentic or real.
Because it's not an accident. There's a purpose behind there.
Rainier, can you hold your baby? I can Rainier, can you hold your baby? You think so?
What you see here and on our vlogs was not always this way. Growing up, I went to church every week of my life, and we were taught rules and how to be good and about God and the Bible. And it was really empowering and cool, but there was one big problem with that, and that was that whatever I was learning about, whatever I saw on the outsides of others, whatever was on the inside of me never measured up to that. And I did a pretty good job of faking it. But when push came to shove, I had these secrets that I had to work really hard to kind of keep concealed, even from myself, really because the entire measure of a man, if you will, or a person, was based upon who they are and what they did. And I wanted to be a good person, so I had to act good. And the ways I wasn't, I had to pretend I was good.
For me, that pretendedness, is that a word, was so good, was so realistic to me that I actually thought I was a good person.
For me, these were things like stealing, lying and telling the truth, porn and masturbation and other sexual things that I'd done. And the only way I could feel good about myself is if I told other people and even myself that these things had never really even happened. Not a very good way of addressing reality, I can see in hindsight. Around the age of 25, after we were married, we started going to a church in Seattle. Hey, there's a rabbit here.
Okay, we're not We're not accusing you.
I'm just
honey.
telling you, there's a
Just
black
get it
rabbit
out.
hopping around here. And this is the first time in my life when we started going to this church that I think I heard what I would now call the gospel. And the gospel means good news. So the gospel is like overloaded statement. But before, I thought religion or God was just about not going to hell and going to heaven and being a good person. And people said it wasn't, but really everyone's lives was like, that's what it was. But for some reason, there was a story that was told, and it was about this guy who put on someone else's clothes, and he basically tricked the father, and then the father blessed him.
Instead of the other
son, yeah. This pastor, who was a Army Ranger, said, that's what happens when we go to God. What it means to really believe in Jesus is it means you are actually taking credit for his goodness, which means you wear Jesus's clothes. So when you go before God at like the end times, and God looks at you, he sees Jesus and all the good things that Jesus did, because Jesus was the perfect man. You know, he's the only person that ever even claimed that.
And you need that because we are not good in ourselves.
Good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's like a little bit good, but we all know, we all have that side of us. So the whole like death and cross and all of that business, Christmas, it was all about the things that Jesus needed to do to transfer his goodness to us. He had to become human. He had to die. Something always has to die for bad things, for debt. And when he died, it gave us the ability to take on his goodness. That was a game changer for me. Because what that meant was that I didn't have to fake it anymore. I didn't try and have to show people how good I was. Because actually, I really wasn't. It was the most freeing thing in my life. Because all this energy that I was spending trying to prove to myself and the world how good I was, I could now just spend thanking and coming to appreciate and falling in love with Jesus.
It frees up this space where you can now, because you're not trying to be lovable, to be good, you can now let God's love flow into you. There's
a scene in this movie called 8 Mile. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it has Eminem in it. And there's this like rap battle, and how it works. A rap battle is like two people get on stage and they rhyme to a beat and totally slam the other person in the most derogatory way possible.
This guy's a choke artist. You catch a bad one, you're better off shooting yourself with Papa Doc's handgun.
And the final scene, spoiler alert, Eminem gets up there and he goes first. So he grabs the microphone and he does the craziest thing. Instead of slamming the other person, first he says everything negative about himself.
I am white, I am a punk. I do live in a trailer with my mom. My boy Future is an Uncle Tom. I do got a dumb friend named Cheddar Bob who shoots himself in his leg with his own gun.
Totally took the wind out of that guy's sails.
I was going to say the same thing.
This is not a recommendation, but it's a pretty fun movie. And at the end, he drops the microphone, and the guy is absolutely speechless. He has nothing else to say about Eminem's character because he already said the worst thing possible about himself that he could have ever said.
I think he even said, go ahead and try to say something now that I haven't already said about myself.
Here, tell these people something they don't know about me.
And there's this quote from a hero of mine: we are more sinful and flawed in ourselves than we ever dared believe. And that's the first part that was really important for me to realize. It was just important for me to come to terms and say, I am that person. I did lie. I did steal. I did do things I said I would never do again.
I'm just as bad as that murderer over there. That's a really hard thing, I think, to, even now, to grasp for me. But that's what this is saying.
Really the most shameful thing that I ever did in my adult life, which was stealing from my friends, got published on the largest podcast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
There's a dog chasing a rabbit. Got published on the largest podcast in the world. And when I heard this thing, the first thing I thought was, those sons of totally misrepresented me. And then it just hit me. I realized, oh my gosh, They didn't misrepresent me. In fact, they did a great job of telling the story in context. They were the first people to ever honestly and accurately represent me. I didn't even know who I was because I had spent so much time and energy presenting this
False image
of who I wanted to be and who I thought I needed to be loved. But the second part of this quote is just as important as the first. Yet at the very same time, we are more loved and accepted in Jesus Christ than we ever dared hope. And what that means is when we wear Jesus' clothes and go before God, we are accepted.
And it's really important that those two things are there together.
And this reminds me of the final scene in the Lego movie. Here's another spoiler alert. The scene is between the Father and the Son in this final moment where he's captured and standing up to this enemy that is the Father, says this.
You don't have to be the bad guy. You are the most talented, most interesting, and most extraordinary person in the universe. And you are capable of amazing things because you are the special.
And that is the gospel, the good news, that in Jesus, when we wear Jesus' clothes, when we take credit for his work, we don't have to try anymore. So it's funny, I have all this stuff today because everything was just speaking this, and today's Mr. Rogers calendar says, feeling good about ourselves is essential in our being able to love others. People have said so much, you guys are so authentic and you guys are real, and we felt like we owed you guys an explanation as to why we think that is. It's because we believe that we don't need to pretend, or even not pretend, we don't need to legitimately be good anymore to be special or to be loved, because we believe that someone else already did that for us. And our life is a celebration of that. And we're coming to believe this more and more every day. It's a very transformative belief. But what I don't want you to think is, oh, that's just the Crawfords. They're weird. They're super brave and courageous, and they don't care what people think. Some of those things could be true, but what you guys see is not our courage. It's a belief. And it might be a crazy belief. I mean, maybe you think Jesus didn't exist, or God isn't real, or if he is, he would never love us. But that's what we believe the Bible says. It took us a long time to realize that. And that's what we live under. And we're willing to die for it, for sure. In fact, all of our life is staked on that belief being true. So when you guys see us talk about our problems, or we show you our imperfections, or our crooked teeth, and you say, oh, hey, you're a bully, or you're mean, or that's wrong or dangerous,
or you're a doormat, or
we can say,
to people pleaser.
Yeah, you know, you're probably right. And actually, whatever you're saying, we're probably way worse than that. That's how we see ourselves. It's not about that. We've accepted that fact, but we're loved
and accepted just as we are.
And it is good news for us. It's the best news we've ever heard. We are totally fine, by the way, with people not believing that. We just think it's really beneficial to know what it is you're not believing, because we were never told what the gospel really was. We were told it was like, hey, be good enough. And growing up in the church was really difficult. You had all the rules and none of the fun. It was terrible.
There was a lot of undoing that had to be done.
I felt guilty for everything.
Yep.
I hope this wasn't preaching. In fact, you know, I actually don't care, because this is the truest thing in our life that dictates everything that you guys see. And the comments have reflected that. We felt we owed you guys an honest response. And we thought that to wrap up this year kind of celebration of this week was the great time to do that. So we hope that helps some of you guys at least understand where we're coming from. And we believe that anyone can believe this. You know, you don't have to be super This isn't about us. This is really about Jesus and his clothes and how God sees us. And it is this belief and believing in the work of Jesus and the work that he did that gives us the ability to not depend on our own work. And in fact, it was Jesus that said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, I will give you rest." That's why we believe that Christianity is actually a religion of rest, not work. So that's why we celebrate with rest every week. And that's what we're doing right now, because it's Friday, it's Shabbat, it's the end of our week. It's been a hard one. It always is. My guess is for you guys too.
Thanks for watching. Shabbat Shalom. Hey guys, we have a Patreon page if you want to support our channel.
Why?
We'll put the link down below. We're pretty excited. We have two patrons
Look at that.
at $9
Look at that.
for the month.
High five.
And we're eating ice cream. Celebrate.